Welcome back to Next Gen Investing, and I'm now joined by Marley Kayden, of course, host here for the Schwab Network, and we're talking Tesla. I mean, is there a better way to close out the week than recap the week that was in Tesla? And I was making the debate to our producer. I was like, hey, Tesla's up 8.7%. We got to talk about this, even if today there isn't really a clear factor of why we're seeing this 2% pop, although firming up here on the session.
I think there are several reasons that we're seeing the pop. It's been a very busy week. The primary driver, I think, today, Jenny, is that they got their rideshare license in Texas, which is a huge deal for them. It's cleared the path for the Robotaxi service to operate under new state regulation. So why they had to get that licensure, which now is registered with the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation alongside of Uber and Lyft, is that autonomous vehicles are now going to be treated the same as human driving services. So they have to have this operation, this new regulation under this new, it's September 1st, it goes into place, where they have to have this licensure. So they have it. We know they began operating in June. So this is a big deal for the company now that they have this license. They can continue operating now starting September 1. They are having a solid week, like you meant. They're up almost like 9% the last 5 days. One of the reasons for that, Jenny, I think is in part because they simply just had some recent weakness. You know, shares dropped 4% last week on news that a Florida jury awarded $329 million in damages for a fatal crash involving one of Tesla's driver assistance features. And the jury found that Tesla bore a third of the responsibility for the accident. So there was just some general weakness in the stock, as well as that jury verdict coming down. Also, on the upside of this growth, though, we did see that new pay package for Elon Musk come out this week. He got his close to $100 million shares. He did say that he needs that because he wants to have 25% of voting control so that he can't be ousted by activist investors. He doesn't quite have 25%. He is going to have just about 20% based on the pay package that they announced earlier this week. It's not the 25%, but investors don't seem to be minding. Dan Ives still very pro this move, very pro Tesla, and he seems to be right. Shares are up since that award came out. Also today, Tesla announced it's breaking up the team behind Dojo. It's a supercomputer AI play that will end them trying to develop in-house chips for driverless technology. So that was a big news story as well. Elon Musk came out after that report and said that Tesla's going to streamline its AI operations to focus on the development of inference chips to run AI models and make real-time decisions. That's where they're going to focus. The Dojo lead is leaving the company. Tesla says the remaining team members will be reassigned to other data center and computing projects. But this follows reports that several other members of Dojo's team left to start their own AI company. So a very interesting move there, especially considering that Musk once said that the Dojo AI training supercomputer would be the key to full self-driving.
Okay, yeah, and you're right. This has been such a long week that I actually almost forgot that pay package was approved this week. That was not last week. That happened
on Monday.
Monday, yes, which goes to show the week that was for Tesla. I mean, I do feel like you said there's so many catalysts that are driving what has been now an 8.5% jump on the week that it's not even just like, you know, looking at today's scope of news. But I think a really good point about right now seeing that development with the Robotaxi, of course, securing that license in Texas, and finally, hopefully, puts them a bit more on track with a competitor being like Waymo, because we've talked about the way that how can you justify a valuation for the stock that is basically trading on an autonomous premium if we don't have the autonomous products available to us yet?
Well, I think the fact that they were able to obtain the license before the September 1st start, where it's required in the state, is really important here. They still don't have that level 4 clearance where they don't have to have a safety driver in the vehicle like Waymo does. But the fact that they have the license to operate in the state is also equally important, because even if they got that level 4 clearance, they wouldn't be able to operate the vehicles. So they needed it to have it. I am curious, though, as they move into other states, if Florida has any sort of similar requirement, since they now have that verdict against them in that traffic fatality, if that could have any part in it being an issue for them. The street didn't seem to mind it. The investors didn't seem to pay much mind to it. But it is a potential issue just within the state of Florida that they do not have that verdict against them, holding them liable in part a third liable for a fatality death involving their full self-driving feature.
I know, and I will be curious to know what that looks like as it rolls out. I know that that's like the mass concern, that AI and autonomy is not necessarily going to be something that's good for the environment or good for, like, you know, the safety of us as consumers. But I think the element of the concern is still the human component that is right now cannot be obviously entirely removed from the road. And to my understanding, autonomy could exist in these cars right away if we didn't have humans on the road messing it all up. up. So I guess we're a bit to blame there. But I also think pay Elon Musk what he deserves. We've seen now this vote struck down, and it's like, just pay the guy what he deserves. There's no Tesla without Elon Musk.
Well, there is still a possibility that his original pay package, the one that was struck down in Delaware, could still come into play. It's now up for appeal in the Delaware Supreme Court. So if that is not, the appeal is denied, that pay package will stand. This new pay package will go away. So he will then have his more than 25%. I think it would put him somewhere in the 30s. That pay package was the highest pay package by, I think, 33% that's ever been given to the CEO of a company in the history of all companies. But there was another really interesting story too, Jenny. The Air Force, some paperwork from the Air Force contracts, when they want to buy something, they have to file paperwork that's visible to the public. They want to buy Cybertrucks for target practice.
I love this.
They want to buy them because they think they're going to start showing up on the battlefield. I think this is so interesting. The Air Force says that Tesla pickups are likely to start appearing on the battlefield because they don't, quote, receive the normal extent of damage expected upon a major impact. So they want to study them and how launching a missile into a Cybertruck, what kind of damage that causes. And so very interesting just that's another component here that they're saying the enemy may use a Cybertruck on the battlefield because it's sort of like the new Hummer.
Well, I hope that it's a lot better than what was the glass breaking several years ago. And I think they've figured out the glass since then. But I'm like, hey, they better have shored up some of their glass, because that was definitely not a weapon I would want to take to battle. But I do love. I still, like, when I see one, I get excited. I know that makes me like the maybe biggest Tesla groupie of all time. But hey, I like the Cybertruck, and I will say that loud and proud. But appreciate it, Marley, for breaking down all of the news that has definitely been impacting Tesla, of course, for this week, with a really nice pop up about 8 and some change on the week now. We'll leave it there, though, for FOMO.